Hi, welcome back to another video. So today we have another 5 tips to fill your sketchbook video. I guess it's a 5 more tips to fill your sketchbook, because this is the 3rd edition. So this is the vibe. So tip 1 is to make title pages. So this could be beginning, ending, or even chapter page titles, section dividers for your sketchbooks, like part 1, part 2, or just like when you feel like you need a clean start. So without starting like a whole different sketchbook, you can just like, so for example, this sketchbook I'm like halfway through right now, and if I just decided that I'm not happy with the beginning, or I feel like my art style has suddenly really changed, then you can just make a new title page, like starting, and then just start. Like, you don't need to buy a whole different sketchbook or throw a whole sketchbook out just because of that. So as examples, I have this actual just like title starting page that I drew here. It's very, I don't know if other artists also experience this, but I feel like the first page is always very daunting when you're starting a sketchbook, because I feel like it sort of sets the tone for the rest of the sketchbook. So doing a title page is something that's very like low cost, low effort. Like, it's just something easy that'll give you the confidence to move forward. And actually what first inspired me, just by the way for the order, is this sketchbook was first on the sketchbook. This one is finished, this one is like halfway through. But yeah, I did the end page because I genuinely didn't know what else to do or to draw in it. I feel like I was sort of just done with the sketchbook. So this was like a nice way to like close it off. So yeah, if you want to mess around with typography, color, shapes, and you want something simple, low brain power to just execute, then yeah, you can do that. And I feel like doing like mid-page dividers is also a very cute idea, so maybe I'll try incorporating some of those as well. Okay, so tip number 2 is to design a doodle that has a lot of repeating potential. So this is basically something that you can draw multiple times. You can draw in like the crevices of the page to like fill up the extra space, to like add a little something, to add a little bit of character. So yeah, this could be an actual character. It could just be like I don't know, an abstract pattern, a design of sorts, a shape even. So let me give you some examples. I have these little guys that I repeat a lot. They're like sort of my comfort doodles. These are more like cubic versions of the, oh yeah, here's them in their truer form. So yeah, you can just like redraw them to like fill up this page. That's sort of what I was doing. You can just give them like little tiny expressions and stuff, and I think they're so adorable. Another example of this that isn't just like characters is like these like star things. So that would be more of like a shape motif that you repeat a lot. I use these so often. It's like, it's terrible. They're everywhere. But yeah, so that's a simple idea, I think. Okay, the 3rd tip is to try double spreads, if you don't already try double spreads. Reason for this is that you think less about subject matter or concepts, because it is 2 pages that take up 1 idea. So if your goal is to fill up a sketchbook quickly, or to finish one like really fast, then this can really help you, like doing a bunch of double spreads instead of doing singular spreads, because you're using the same materials, you're using the same idea, the same concept, the same characters, whatever, and you're just like taking up the space of 2 pages instead of fitting that into 1 page. So an example of that is the sketchbook that I actually finished in like 10 days. So I did a lot of double spreads in the sketchbook literally for that reason, because I had a specific amount of pages that I had to fill up by a specific time. So double spreads kind of just became my best friend, because it's 1 idea that stretches up and takes up 2 pages instead of just 1. So it's honestly a lifesaver. And yeah, it's also a lot, yeah, it's that visual intrigue again, because it's something that, like, these pages compared to this page, like, it's so interesting to experiment with the cut of the page and sort of where you place elements. To think of it as 1 big canvas can be pretty revolutionary. Tip number 4 is line or lineless. So basically, if you usually use liner, then try a lineless approach instead. And same with the opposite. Reverse what you usually do or what you're in the habit of doing to hopefully help you reach new visual conclusions. So drawing something you're familiar with can get a bit boring, and sometimes your art tends to all sort of look the same if you're constantly using the same like 1, 2, 3s. So changing something fundamental in your art or in your art process can help you bring new visual qualities or like a new shapeliness or a new contrast depending on which of these you usually swing towards. So I think I'm definitely more on the line side when it comes to like my sketchbook work. This is surreal architecture with lines, and then this is surreal architecture lineless. Like they're obviously different in terms of everything, in terms of even the background. So this one does like look more impressive overall, but I think the idea is there is that I usually do, like if you just look at like the building, I usually just do lines, but this time it's like paint on paper and I'm trying to sort of understand the shapes that I use without putting a line first. Okay, the same with this page, even though I did end up adding lines after, but I started this page with all just like color blocked like markers, and then I went in after and I touched up the liner, which is opposite to how I usually work, which is I like trace out the pieces that I want and I like with like a colored pencil or a pencil or something, and then I do the line art and then I block in and I do color on top. But for this one it was really just color first and then line art after. So I got to sort of understand where I wanted to put things and just to see how the colors and shapes interacted instead of just putting line to that blank sheet. And I think that helped me understand how I use space a lot more, because it is like, you can sort of see like some of the markers are overlapping a bit, but it sort of helped me understand how I layer, because I think I work more on like a 2D planes. So it helped me understand how I layer and what my tendencies for layering usually are when it comes to environments and stuff like that. So if you want to learn more about your process or just like get something a bit more fresh, get like a fresh new take, then try that. Okay, so tip 5 is to draw a page of similar or related objects. So this could be like a cat page, like a plant page, an appliance page. I can't think of good ideas off the top of my head, but that's sort of the idea. So it's kind of like the double spreads concept, where you're taking like a spread or a double spread or whatever and you're filling it with similar objects or related objects or ideas. So less brain power, you fill up a spread faster. So it's sort of like a spread theme in a way. I can show you an example. Okay, so this one is related objects. It's like vases and teacups and cups with some sort of floral pizzazz, and that was sort of just the motivation for this. I drew this pretty fast because I feel like when your brain is picking from related objects, you have a very small pool. But when you have unrelated objects, that suddenly becomes literally everything in the world. So narrowing it down can really help you decide what to draw and decide to draw. Because I feel like sometimes you're like, what do I draw? And I think you just need to narrow it down for yourself to give yourself a specific challenge. So be like, I'm going to draw, I don't know, cutlery. And then you draw cutlery. Another example of that is these. So these are like cake pages, cake related pages. I actually have another cake related page later over here. So these were also pretty quick to draw because it's not like, I didn't really need to scratch my brain to like put things together. Sometimes things just like come together, like sort of these pages. Like I don't feel like a lot of these things are very related. Maybe on these pages because it's all like sort of computer themed, but this page, it's like a heart, it's like star meter, it's like text bars. Sometimes your brain just sort of like barfs all over the page and you just sort of let that happen, but sometimes you needed like a little bit of a push to sort of make something. So I feel like these two pages are another good example. Like I sort of started doodling these guys, and then I was like, you know what, let's just make them little like profile grids. Plus I feel like when you have restraint, it can really help you design or characters or objects in slightly different but more interesting ways. So I had these, and then I was really like, how do I rearrange these shapes to make more unique characters? Okay, and that brings us to the end of this video. Hopefully this was helpful. Yeah. comment if you want a part 4, and I'll get to that at some point, hopefully. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!